I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And that's Shiny. We still
haven't gotten a name.
We still haven't gotten a, and that's Ghosty. I don't think Ghosty's name's ever going to change.
No, Ghosty.
But Shiny's name is up for grabs.
What about Booby? Are you sticking with Booby?
Oh, Booby, I named Booby personally. Or it'd be Booby.
Strange.
Booby has shirts. You should check them out. For time and topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori. It's all blurry, babe. I don't know what that means.
You can put your hand there.
Middle America with Vin and Sori. You can check it out if you're politically inclined. There are multiple ways to get your song reviewed, dear listener. My favorite one is the team option. You get $1 to gate at Patreon. You jump in, you pull your points together, and then your group sends it up and we review. If you don't want to do the community option and you're a filthy capitalist like Sori and you want to go straight to the head of the line, then you take the 125 option and that gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to haggle with your teammates, etc., etc., etc. You also get lifetime VIP in the backstage, and believe you me, you're gonna want it.
Gonna be some fun stuff.
Mission profile.
Look, your face is clear. Oh, there it is. Here we go.
Well, it's the melanin. Shout out to Nihilus.
This song is for Rodney. Rodney picked this song, and he went with the filthy capitalist way. Actually, you know what he had said before? He's like, here's the link. And then he goes, I love being a filthy capitalist if it means exposing great bands to the world!
Oh, yeah. I saw that in the email. Shout out to the big homie. Let's do it.
All right. So
God
we are
almighty. Is that right for you?
Threshold. Mission profile.
Sounds ominous.
Go.
That was very good.
So the lead singer Andrew died of kidney failure. Unfortunately.
Kidney failure?
Yeah. I don't know how old the big homie was. Rest in peace to the big homie. Was that him singing?
Yeah, that's what Rodney told us.
They replaced this guy?
Apparently.
See,
I mean, they would have to.
shout out to whoever replaced the big homie. Those are
big shoes.
you know,
very large shoes.
it's not just I can hit a note or whatever. It's just can't really place it, but Dio's got it where it's just smooth.
Yes.
It's just hot knife through butter smooth. There's not a lot of vocalists that. I mean, for me, Dio obviously is the best discovery I made on the channel, vocally speaking. Maynard is also a discovery I made on the channel because I didn't listen to Tool. This guy, I like his vocal. I mean, I need to hear it live. I've heard Dio live. I've heard Maynard live.
Yeah, but it sounds.
I need him to pull this off live, which I don't know, man. Those guys.
Sometimes when you hear stuff, you're like, this to me sounds like I bet he does it live.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go check it out. This is gonna be my plank song for tonight. I actually like the chorus.
It's like upbeat.
I actually misinterpreted what the song was about until like halfway in. So I initially thought it was a sci-fi concept record. So I thought it was gonna be about sci-fi. But it doesn't look like that. You know, it looks like. Go ahead.
No, to me it just seemed like the different systems that surround us and what we call freedom and what we do to maintain that or to get that and the he talks about I forgot the word. I forgot the propaganda.
Yeah.
Delusion is always possible. But we've got propaganda, and then mass confusion is always better than the threat of understanding. We'll deceive you. We've got so many ways to make you stand behind us, and obviously with our current social issues, it just kind of, I was like, wow. And then one part was crazy when he said, it doesn't have a question mark in these lyrics. It said, "Can we be wrong?" And I think that, like, I don't know, maybe you have a different take on this song, but it was just making me think of the social justice issues of our day. And like, there's so many people that are unwilling to see, or so many Christians, because I talk to a lot of Christians, and there's so many Christians who are unable to see what's going on, and they're focusing on the wrong issues and not seeing things for what they are, even though they're so obvious. And so it's like, I think that the question, can we be wrong? It's not like, are we able to be wrong? It's like, can you accept the fact that you could be wrong? And then can you look to see that there's something else? But I think that one probably just kind of went somewhere else with me than what they were intending in the song, because it seemed like in the song, I don't know if this is a well, we're talking about the people with the propaganda and all that stuff, so but I thought the when he was talking about freedom, we're giving up the freedom to be free. I don't know. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, when I look at the date of the record, it's 2004. The Iraq invasion happened in the previous year. So that to me gives context for a lot of this stuff. Like when he's talking about like peace will kill to defend it or something like that. Peace is our mission, we'll murder to defend it. He talks about the propaganda. And then he's talking about giving up the freedom to be free, which in 2004 a lot of people were really starting to rail against the Patriot Act. So the USA Patriot Act, which got passed very shortly after 9/11, contained a lot of surrender of our freedoms in exchange for security. So that was the whole debate about how much freedom are you willing to give up for security, and yada yada yada. And at the time, especially the closer you were chronologically to 9/11, the more Americans were en masse willing to give up liberties that would have been unthinkable.
Oh yeah.
I was listening to Anwar al-Awlaki, may Allah have mercy on him, But he was talking about how 9/11, just 18 guys, were able to change the entire way of life of the mightiest country the world had ever seen. From, people getting groped basically and sexually assaulted by the TSA, to America saying, sure, wiretap the hell out of everything. I mean, prior to Patriot Act, the only massive public support for wiretapping was the RICO statutes because of the mafia. Mm-hmm. So Giuliani, masterfully employed the RICO statutes in order to get houses bugged and things of that nature. But those were very, very specific individuals who had, everybody knew who these people were, John Gotti, all the rest of it. So it was a very specified group of people. But the Patriot Act made everything open season, and then then you get the Snowden. This was written before the Snowden revelations and before WikiLeaks. Mm-hmm. But as we began to progress, and even the Verizon scandal with Obama, there were just a lot of, and it's not a Democrat Republican thing.
Imagine putting the song out before all that, and then all that stuff comes out. It's like what?
but people were warning. At this point, I was a far right. Everything the government says is Bush is right, and we need to kill people, and we need to kill a lot of people, and then we need to also wiretap everybody, because it's like so. But that was a mindset at the time, But it was really the folks on the left who were saying, whoa, the left and Ron Paul, they were saying, whoa, here we're talking about wiretapping releasing these restrictions so you could literally wiretap everyone. Like, this is where we're going. Mm-hmm. And, they were demonized for it and yada, yada, yada. And, it came out to be true. That is what happened. Now, I'm going to do the counter argument that these people are going to say. They're going to say, well, you're saying it came to be true, but we didn't have another major 9/11 level terrorist attack since 2001, and you don't think that they were trying? That's the answer to that. And then you've got the whole torturing people and all that, which I don't think Abu Ghraib came out like, Abu Ghraib, 2004. Yeah, I think that had already happened. So there was just a lot of things that now, I don't want to say now would be unthinkable, because we're in 7 theaters of conflict, and and we're droning the hell out of everybody. So I don't think it's even proper to say now would be unthinkable, but pre 9/11 would be completely unthinkable.
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of people on the left are saying, are you going to let this one event completely reshape America and freedom and how we're doing it? And I think he's talking about that. He's saying we're giving up the freedom to be free. And then he said, he basically said, we're opening something up here that we've started something we can never end. Mm-hmm. We've been in Afghanistan since 2001. It's 2020 now. Next year will mark the official 20th year of being in Afghanistan. It's the longest war we've ever had. And if you asked me back then, I'd say, yeah, we're going to kill a lot of these Taliban because they're harboring bin Laden, and he's responsible for 9/11, and he needs to die. And these guys are harboring him, so they get what they get. Didn't you hear what Bush said? If you're not with us, you're against us, or you're with the terrorists. Is this very fascistic statement for the entire planet. Everybody on the planet has to be on our team because there's an axis of evil. Just really crazy. People forget about it. People, talk about Trump being a megalomaniac and a fascist and all that, and he definitely has fascistic tendencies. I shot a video on Middle America about it. But people are forgetting. And now, Bush is saying all this craziness about Trump, and it's like, bruh.
Yeah, but he's banking on that most Americans don't remember any of that.
Well, yeah, so, and the media the media successfully, demonized Trump, and Trump has successfully demonized. Trump has successfully demonized himself. But it's amazing how people are just prisoners of the moment. It's like this dude came on global television and said, if you're not with me and what we're about to do, you're with the terrorists. Mm-hmm. People are like, wait a second. Mm-hmm. What did those Iraqi people do to you? What are you talking about, Ross? So, it's so weird, like watching it, and Bush has now become sort of like a sweetheart for the left, and saying things like not the real left, but the media left, saying things like, oh, we thought Bush was bad, we'll take Bush over Trump, blah blah blah. It's like Trump didn't invade any countries yet on false pretenses and kill 250,000 or 1 million of their civilians and destroy the lives of many American soldiers, sailors, and Marines and airmen. Like that was Bush that did that. So like, I'm not defending Trump. I'm saying we have such a short memory because like we've got a 24-hour news cycle and people are just inundated with all this craziness, and so because of it, and people are so ginned up in emotionalism about Trump that they forget that Trump doesn't hold a candle as far as fascism goes to Bush. It's not even close. And the wiretapping and all this is just a complete big government, and the Republicans were supposed to be small government, but then they were talking about expanding the government's ability to spy on people, and you got a rendition program where you can snatch and grab people at night and bring them to a black site, and it's completely legal, nobody knows where you are, which is how Al-Awlaki got radicalized. That's a fact. You'll be able to submit a FOIA in a couple years, and that was the agency's synopsis of what happened with Al-Awlaki. So Al-Awlaki, a lot of people don't know this, Al-Awlaki used to teach Islam at the White House. In the White House. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but he did, yeah.
Wow.
So, and there's also videos of him, talking about the deaths in 9/11 were terrible and they were horrible, we grieve for them, and the deaths in Gaza are terrible and horrible. He's basically saying like terrorism is bad on both sides when, and then he got renditioned to a black site, and that's all she wrote. They snatched him up in Yemen, and they radicalized him by treating him the way that they did. So there's just there were so many complexities during that time period, and people weren't, because we were so emotional at the time, people weren't sitting and thinking things through. And the reason I was harping on the Bush thing is not so much because I hate Bush or like Trump, it's because I'm afraid that we're going to run into another Bush down the line, Democrat or Republican, I don't care, but we're not going to be able to recognize him because we've completely forgotten that Bush is a war criminal and a just overall horrible human being.
Right. Well, I mean, it's understandable. Do we have a statue of Bush? How are we supposed to remember if we don't have that?
Very well played. Yeah, so this is a smart, and flags and footprints, the destruction of words, ground control.
The art of reason. That to me looks like.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they all kept part of. So,
Say what?
Well, no, forget it. So yeah, this is a song I think that's talking about what was happening in the prevailing zeitgeist around 2004 between.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I see some Patriot Act here. I see some Iraq war invasion here.
Did you see the
usage of propaganda to convince people to?
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons I learned.
What does it say here? It's different. It says reflect in the TV on the album cover, and it looks like concept maybe, but this doesn't necessarily look like a P. It looks more like an R.
I think it's consent.
Oh, an N?
Yeah, I think that's consent. There's a book by Noam Chomsky called Manufacturing Consent, I think it is, and it's talking about how the media manufactures consent or co-sign something, and then everybody just goes along with it. So I think so there's the TV, and then I think on the bottom, I think it's if that's a C, it's consent, and I think he's talking about manufacturing consent, which is not Noam Chomsky sort of. So this probably sets the tone for the whole record, and. I think for me, I don't see how we're not going to do this again, because a lot of Americans do not know when they're being propagandized and brainwashed.
Yeah.
They don't know. So
yeah, and then everybody says the same phrases like they came up with it.
Right.
And some of these phrases don't make any damn sense.
Correct. And you know, people will recognize when a psychological operation has been levied against them. And you know, I mean, you had the whole Russiagate thing. People just completely forgot about the Russiagate thing and how the media and the DNC worked together to craft this crazy narrative that wasn't true.
Hand in hand.
And people were just, you know, blitzed up about it, yada, yada, yada. And like, nobody's concerned about how the media is able to just define reality for people and not see the danger in it. You know, like, there was one Democrat guy that was speaking during the impeachment process, and he's like, guys, like, if we do this is not going to stop here. What if they get a majority in the Senate and then there's a Democrat? What's going to happen?
Right.
So there's just a lot of complexities with our country for the last 20 years, and it just shows that we're not able to deal with a nationwide crisis very well. You know, World War II happened, and you know, I feel like, from what I know of World War II, that as a country we're able to consolidate well and do whatever we needed to do to, you know, further the war effort and come together as a country. We lost that after Vietnam, and I don't think we've ever really recovered, because Vietnam was such a divisive conflict where you had the up and coming hippie movement and the younger generation having a starkly different interpretation of Vietnam than the older generation. The older generation had gone to wars, had fought.
Yep.
So they looked at it in the just sense of this rote duty that you had to do. But young kids are like, well, wait a second. We had Muhammad Ali saying, I never had a VC call me a nigger. I ain't going over there fighting them people. So that was kind of like a major fracture. I mean, the Civil War was one, but definitely Vietnam kind of changes, and we've never really been the same thing since, I don't think. And then Republicans and Democrats are very good at getting people to fight each other, so that people are not able to see the real enemy.
We need to get wise to it so we can actually take care of the issues that are going on.
That's why I say none of these people are stupid, and I tap my hat to the DNC and the media industrial complex, because they pulled that 4-year nonsense about Trump and impeachment and all that. And my opinion, my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, is that they didn't want any attention on what they did with Bernie, and they also wanted to make sure that Bernie was not a central figure going into the election, and that everybody was gassed up on Trump, so as to ignore the fact of what they did to Bernie and what they were going to do to Bernie. And it worked like a charm. People didn't figure it out until it was too late, you know? So these guys, they're experts, man. And they're a very small group of people, but they understand the power of imagery. They understand how propaganda works. They understand how psychological operations work. And they pull it off like a charm. So this is a very insightful song, and I loved the singer, my lord. Rest in peace to the big homie.
No, me too.
Because they were actually talking about something.
Yep.
So shout out to the big homie. Rest in peace, my guy.
Yeah, I thought that the vocal style was great, and then I liked the way that the song kept transitioning into different, kind of kept sounding different. So yeah, it was a 9.3 for me. I really liked it.
Yeah, and that "Can We Be Wrong" thing is crazy, because I really, you couldn't have told me that we're wrong about anything in America. And I'm not talking about just academically wrong or didactically wrong. I'm talking about morally wrong. Like, I was one of these, like, America's and I still believe it's the greatest country on the planet, but to me it's the best of the worst. But at the time, man, there was no nuance. There was no, you know, they had that re-election bill thing going on, and it was Bush versus what's his face, John Kerry, and you know, Karl Rove and them, like, he's a flip-flopper, and the reason he was a flip-flopper was because he voted for the Iraq War, then saw how horrible it was, So then he voted against the Iraq War. And then Bush was like, oh, you're a flip-flopper. It's like when I'm homeschooling the kids and Dorian says 2 + 2 is 5. And then he looks at it again and says, no, actually it's 4. Oh, you're a flip-flopper. It's like you're supposed to change your position when more information comes out. But the propaganda was on 10 and people just ate it up, man. People just ate it up.
Crazy, man. How easily influenced people are.
After that whole Iraq War thing, I was like, nope, this is never going to happen to me.
Like Christians saying people are easily influenced.
After the whole thing, I was like, I'm never going to fall for this again. So that's why I'm like, I was very, very meticulous about what was going on with Russiagate and all the rest of it. I'm like, this is never going to happen to me. And that's why, you know, it's not popular, but, you know, I call out certain times when black folks are, you know, trying to, you know, the Rayshard Brooks thing, trying to put that with George Floyd and like, no. And this whole recent thing with NASCAR, no. Because I'm not gonna get jammed up by the right or the left.
Right.
Like, just truth is truth, and I think it's important to just tell it, because we're in a position now where we can literally affect the saving of millions of lives, because on social media people can get together and say, no, we're not part of this, and educate people. But in 2003, it wasn't like that. And so that's why, you know, people are like, I thought you supported BLM. Why are you saying this about Rayshard Brooks? It's because I support BLM, but I do not support being propagandized in propaganda, and I don't trust media when they start spinning news. I don't trust it either way, because it's never for our benefit. You know, these folks, you know, on CNN, correct, MSNBC, they all have agendas, and they all have a monetary stake in getting you to believe certain things. So that's why I'm super paranoid about, like, making sure that whatever the issue is, I'm looking at it in its actual sense and away from the propaganda, which sometimes is almost impossible. What do you give the song?
I already rated it 9.3.
I really like that chorus.
Did it feel repetitive to you?
No, I know he said.
So
I know he said it was repetitive, but
I didn't think it felt repetitive.
Again, there's no rhyme or reason to whether or not I like a repetitive song.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I loved it. Good song. This is gonna be my plank song. Vin out.
You didn't rate it.
I said 9.6.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Okay.
It's a 9.6. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.